Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to show you how to calculate the distance between Jesus and the painter Leonardo da Vinci in the well-known The Last Supper painting. In this short video I will use principle from maths called projective geometry, but you might also have met almost everything that I show here in your art class because these are simply the rules of perspective drawing. For measuring Jesus' distance from the painter Leonardo da Vinci, we will use the well-known model of camera obscura. This is an ancient, still very well-used model of a camera. In another video, I'm explaining that all of the researchers think of this as a principal setup for a camera. Now, the way this works is if there is a scene point and the light rays goes in, then because we only have a small hole here, this actually makes a one-to-one mapping between the scene points, which is this one, and the point in the picture, which is where this point touches, the image plane. In order to be able to find out the distance between the camera's focal point and the back plane, we're actually going to use the rules of perspective drawing. Now, one of the most important rules in perspective drawing is that if you have two points that are parallel in the scene, they are either going to be parallel in the image as well, or they are going to meet at one point. Now, in this image, I have drawn the lines that are going into the depths of this image. And as you see, according to the rule, they do match in one point. This is actually exactly the image center. This is exactly where Jesus' face is. Can you find other lines in the image that are parallel in the scene? Yes, that's right. The horizontal and the vertical lines are also parallel in the scene, but unfortunately, they are going to be parallel in the image as well. Now, there is a very simple theorem that says that if you want to calculate the distance between the focal point and the backplane of the camera obscura, then you actually need to find two vanishing points that are finite in the image. And because using these points, you can kind of figure that you can calibrate the distance between the focal point and the backplane. Unfortunately, the vanishing points that we have found so far are not capable of doing the job, so we will not be able to calibrate the camera's focal length, simply because the horizontal and the vertical lines are meeting at infinity, and infinitely far vanishing points are not good enough to measure, to calibrate the distance between the camera's hole and the backplane. Fortunately, Leonardo has painted a very nice ceiling in this painting. And on this ceiling you can see a squared pattern. Now, in this squared pattern we can actually find perpendicular directions. Can you see there? That's right, the diagonals of this squared pattern, they are perpendicular to each other, obviously. Now, from this point on, it's very easy to go ahead with the calculations. We just have to find the intersection points of these parallel diagonal lines, and having these intersection points just gives us a way to calculate the focal length of the camera obscura. It actually turns out that in case of this picture, the distance between the focal point and the backplane of the camera obscura is 85% of the complete image width. From this point on, it's easy to calculate the distance between the painter and Jesus in the Last Supper painting. We just have to measure the distance between Jesus' eyes, which is apparently 50 pixels in this specific image, and assume that Jesus' pupillary distance is 65 mm, which is an average value. And this just gives us very easily that Jesus is 5.78 meters away from the painter Leonardo da Vinci in the Last Supper painting. Hope you enjoyed this little journey of projective geometry. Stay tuned for the next videos.